Exam Prep. I am Gaurav Gupta and I welcome all of you to the last lab to CUET 2022, where in this session we are going to discuss the questions on general mental ability. Now, this is the part 2 of this session. I am sure all of you must have attended part 1 of this session where we have discussed 3 of the topics. And today I'm going to continue from where we have left in the last session. So first of all, let us identify what all things will be tested in the general mental ability in this examination. And let's talk about the weightage of this section as well. Now, if I talk about weightage of this particular area in CUET, so area comes under logical reasoning and legal reasoning, right? Okay. So good evening, everyone. So let's see who all have joined us right now. Okay, so Akansha, good evening. Good evening. A very good evening. So Akansha, we are discussing about the weightage of this particular section in CUET. So this area comes under logical reasoning and analytical reasoning. And talking about the weightage of these type of questions, I can say that nearly 1/5 of the general test comprises of this general mental ability. Okay, so general mental ability is same as analytical or logical reasoning that you have seen in some other examinations. So if you have been attending lectures, if you have taken classes, if you have taken sessions on different examinations, if you are preparing for different examination, then I am sure that you all must be knowing about analytical and logical reasoning section and the composition of the same. Swapnil, good evening. All right, so according to me, 1/5 of the weightage of the general test comprises of general mental ability. Now let's have a look at the different topics that will be covered in this particular section and different topics that we'll be discussing in these sessions of general mental ability. Okay, so it's ranging from series, numbers, letter and alphanumerical series, direction sensors, blood relations, coding, decoding, visual reasoning, and then puzzles and arrangements, order and ranking, data sufficiency, mathematical operators, and clocks and calendars. So this will be the composition of the different topics in this particular section, right? Now, in the first lecture, in the first part of general mental ability, we have already discussed the first 3 of these areas, and today's agenda will be to discuss some questions, to solve some questions on coding and decoding, visual reasoning, and puzzles and arrangements. All right, so we'll be going to discuss some of the questions in this session based on these 3 different areas. Once again, good evening to each and every one of you. Neetu, good evening. So friends, let us start with these questions, all of us together. So the areas that we'll be discussing today will be coding and decoding, visual reasoning, and puzzles and arrangements. All right, so let us start with this session. Now I must tell you that if you are attending this session live or maybe you are watching the recording of this session, make sure that you all are solving these questions simultaneously. So when you are watching this session, you are solving these questions simultaneously, and this will help you in practice of these areas. All right, so test yourself, solve all the questions with me. I'll be giving you some time for each and every question, and then I'll be discussing the solution entirely. All right, so all the best to each and every one of you. Let's start with the first question. The first question on your screen based on coding and decoding now in front of you. So I want each and everyone to actively participate in this session. Read this question and tell me which of the following options is correct. So question says that in a certain language, the word general, General, is written as IDPDTZN. So what will be address written as in the same language? Tripti, good evening. So the first question on your screen, take your time. I'll give you around 1 minute to solve this question. And then I'll tell you how these questions should be treated. All right. Kishmish is saying answer is option A. All right, good. Vaishnavi says option A. Nice. So let's have a look at the psychology behind these type of questions. Okay. Now the word is general and the code is IDPD Now primarily, these type of codings are divided in two different parts. Now in one type of coding, you will see that all the alphabets which are present in the word, the same alphabets are present in the code as well. This is one type of coding. So I'm repeating it. So all the alphabets which are present in the word will also be present in the code. Now these alphabets will be present in the code, but they will be present in some jumbled sequence. And we will have to identify that particular jumbled sequence. The second type that is in front of you, general is coded as IDPD Now in this case, you can observe that all the alphabets which are in general, not all these alphabets are present in the code. So that means this particular type of coding is related to the positioning, the number equivalent of these alphabets. All right. Now it will be very good to for all of you if you can remember the number equivalents of alphabets starting from A up till Z. Okay. So let's do that. So general, GENERAL. Let's see what has happened in this case. So I'm writing the number equivalents of all these alphabets. But before that, let us write its code. So IDPDTZN. Okay. So this is the code, and now I'm writing the number equivalents of all of them. So G is 7, then 5, 14, 5, 18, 1, 12. Okay, so these are the number equivalents for general. Now for the code, I'm writing the number equivalents. So it is 9, 4, then it will be 16, 4, 20, 26, and 14. Okay, now if I'll observe them closely, from 7 to 9, what has been done? They have added 2. From 5 to 4, they have subtracted 1. Then from 14 to 16, again plus 2. 5 to 4 minus 1. 18 to 20 plus 2. 1 से 26 पे आए, so that means they are writing the previous one. So again I can say that it will be minus 1. And then from 12 to 14, it is plus 2. So alternately, they are adding 2 and subtracting 1. Okay, so alternately they are adding 2 and subtracting 1 from each and every alphabet of the given word. So plus 2 minus 1 plus 2 minus 1 is the pattern that we have identified, and now we can apply the same logic on the word that is given in the question. So the word is address, ADDRESS. So for A, I'll do plus 2, so it will become C. For D, I'll write minus 1. It will again become C. For D, it will be plus 2. So D ke baad E and then F. So CCF, this is the first three alphabets. These will be the first three alphabets of the code. Now there is no need to complete this. You can just check among the options. CCF kahan pe hai? So CCF is there in option A. So yes, the correct answer for this question will be option A. So Kishmish, Vaishnavi, Akansha, Sneha, Unnati, Vaibhav, Vaishnavi, Muskan, all of you have given a correct answer. Wonderful. Good going. Good going. Keep it up. All right. So all of you must have understood what will be the correct answer in this case. Great. So let's move on to the second question. Let's see how many of you can give me answer for this one. Now this is a little tricky. Be careful. In a code language, if mental is written as 60, how will ability be written in the same language? Let's see how many of you can give the correct answer for this question. Okay, so now the direction should be very clear in this case. Now since mental is coded as 60, mental is written as 60, that means this question has something to do with the number equivalents of these alphabets. So I'll quickly write the number equivalents of all these alphabets for mental. So M 13, 5, N is 14, T is 20, A is 1 and L is 12. Okay, now since this is coded as 60, let me look at the sum of all these numbers. Okay, so sum, it will be 13 plus 5, 18, then 32, 52, 53 and 65. Now 65 is the sum and this is coded as 60. So I can say that, I may assume that whatever the sum is, the code for this particular thing is 65 minus 5, that is 60. So we have reached to the code by subtracting 5 from the sum of the number equivalents of all the alphabets. Let's try the similar thing on ability. Let's see if I have any of the matching options. Okay, so ability 1, 2, 9. So A is 1, B is 2, I is 9, L is 12, then again I, T is 20 and Y is 25. Let's add all of them. 25 plus 20 is 45 and 9, 54, 66, 76 and 2, 78. So I have obtained 78 as the sum of all these numbers. Now if I try and apply the same logic here, 65 में से 5 subtract कर दिया था to obtain 60, तो 78 में से भी 5 subtract कर देते हैं, I will obtain 73 and yes, I have this one among the options. So the correct answer should be option C. All right, am I clear? So yes, the correct answer in this case is option C. Now most of you are correct, but I hope other students have understood the logic that I have used. For mental, the sum was 65, the code was 60. For ability, the sum is 78. So the code will not be 78. 78 में से 5 subtract किया, I have got 73 as the code for ability. I hope I am clear with this one. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Again, the next challenge. Now this question is based on analogies. Select the option that is related to the third number in the same way as the second number is related to the first number. So you have to establish a relation between these two numbers and then apply the similar thing to obtain which of the options will substitute the question mark. Yes, Vaibhav. So initially these things might look confusing, but with a good amount of practice, let's say if you'll practice 50, 60 questions of this type, then practicing these 50, 60 questions will do one simple thing. You would have covered all the different type of questions after practicing 50, 60 questions, and then you will not find these things challenging. Okay, so practice is the only key that will make you perfect. Any answer for this one? All right, Tap Gamer, you are saying option C should be correct. All right, let's have a look at it. Tap Gamer, got your answer? Now, if you want, you also can write the logic that you have used. Come on, go ahead, do that. Okay, now from 21, if I want to reach to 441, first of all, so I can say that 21 square is 441. But the code is 444. Basically, 3 is added to the code. So 21 square is 441 and then 3 is added to the code. Let us apply the same logic. Now 31 square is 961 and if I'll add 3 to 961, so 961 plus 3 is 964, but this is not among the options. So that means slightly different logic has been applied here. Slightly different logic. Okay, so let's see what logic has been applied here. Now in the previous case, 3 was added. How did they obtain 3? 3 was the sum of the digits of 21. So basically 21 is coded as 21 square plus 2 plus 1. Alright, 21 is coded as 21 square plus 2 plus 1. So 441 plus 3 and that is 444. Similarly, for 31, the code will be 31 square plus 3 plus 1. That is 961 plus 4 and the correct answer will be 965. Alright, so here the correct answer will be option D, and yes, most of you have given a correct logic. Great, good. So Vaibhav, yes, you are correct. Kishmish and yes, Rajput, we have done the square. After doing the square, we have added the sum of the digits of the original number. Okay, so that's the logic which is used here, and the correct answer for us is 965. Okay. Now, understand the psychology of the person who is making this question. That person has not kept 964 among the options to make it very much clear that he is not using plus 3 logic. Okay, so the person is using square plus the sum of the digits. Okay, so that is why 964 was not present. Otherwise, अगर 964 भी option में होता तो confusion हो जाती. And this is how the options are made. Okay, so you will not find 964 and 965 both among the options. Okay, let's move on to the next question, question number 4. Again, this question is on based on the analogies and slightly related to coding and decoding. So AGM has a relation with ZTM. In the similar manner, DJK will have a relation with which of the following options? Now, this is one of the commonly used logic while coding decoding or in case of analogies. The logic that is used in the question is a very commonly used logic. Tab Gamer, you have written not got it, sir. So Tab Gamer, have you understood the previous question or not? All right, Vaibhav, you're saying option C. Vaibhav, yes, I have read your answer. You can write it only once. No need to repeat it again and again and again. Come on, guys. This is a very commonly used logic in coding, decoding, or analogies question of this type. So, AGM and ZTN. Okay. Now, I can say that A is the first letter from the beginning. A is the first letter from the beginning, and Z is the first letter from the end. So A first letter beginning से है and Z first letter from the end. Similarly, G is 7th letter from the beginning and T is 20th letter from the beginning, or I can say that 7th letter from the end. Okay, so T is 7th letter from the end, right? Now lastly, M is 13th from the beginning and N is 13th from the end. Now, if you don't understand this thing, I can tell you an easier way of determining if a reverse logic is used or not. So you will write the number equivalents of all of them. A is 1, Z is 26. Look at the sum of these numbers. 1 plus 26 is 27. Similarly, G from the beginning is 7 and T from the beginning is 20. So 7 plus 20 is again 27. M is 13 and N is 14. So again the sum is 27. So when we are doing reverse logic, when we are using reverse logic, okay, if the sum of their places is equal to 27, then we can say that, or this is the right way of identifying this reverse logic. So I can say that if A is the first letter from the beginning, correspondingly Z will be the last letter, or I can say that Z will be the first letter from the end. Similarly for G, seventh letter from the beginning, T, seventh letter from the end, and their sum will be equal to 27 every time. ठीक है? So sum 27 होना चाहिए. So D का number क्या होता है? 4. So D is 4. To make a sum of 27, I need 23 on the other side. Now 23 is equivalent for W. Similarly, J, the number is 10. To make the sum of 27, I need 17 on the other side. Now 17 is the number for Q. And finally, K is 11. So on the other side, I need 16 and 16 will be for P. So WQP will be the final answer, which is rightly given by most of you. Correct answer is option C. All right. So that was another question on coding, decoding or analogies, right? Okay. Now let's shift our gears and look at some of the questions of visual reasoning. So some of the questions of visual reasoning. The first one, a little difficult to start with. Which figure is odd one out of the given figures? So I have taken this question from one of the previous year papers. Okay. So we have to find the odd one out. Now it is always suggested not to spend a lot of time on these type of questions because they can be confusing and sometimes it might be possible that you are unable to find the answer in the first 30-40 seconds. So there is no need to waste time. You can always leave these questions after 30 seconds and then definitely come back later on. Okay, so I'll tell you what the logic is that is defined. Okay, now odd one out इसमें से find out करना है. So we will count the number of white triangles in all the figures. So in the first figure, the number of white triangles is 3. In the second figure, the number of white triangles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next figure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 white triangles. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 white triangles. Last figure, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 white triangles. Okay, white triangles are clearly defined in all the figures. So now, based on the number of white triangles, I can find out the odd one out. So in the first 4 figures, the number of white triangles is odd. And in the last figure, the number of white triangles is even. So the last figure should be odd one out. And the correct answer here is option D, that is figure E. Okay. So Akansha and Yuvraj, two of you have given a correct answer. All right. So the correct answer here is option E. Okay. Sorry, is option D, that is figure E. Now let's move on to the next question. Next question is a little easier as compared to what we have done in this case. Now choose the pair of figures which best expresses the relationship similar to the expressed in the figure given in the question. So this is the question figure. You will have to identify what is the relationship between these figures, and then you will have to look at option A, B, C, D, E and check which of these options bears a similar relationship as what is given in the question figure? Vaishnavi, yes, it can be a different logic. So this is what I told you. You must not get into these questions like and waste a lot of time, because you never know what logic has been used by the examiner to find the answer. So in case you have a little bit of confusion, you are taking a lot of time in solving these questions. So it is better to leave that question and attempt only those questions for which you are sure about the correct answer. Now, like this one is not very difficult. This is a very straightforward logic. So the relationship between this figure and this figure, so circle and a small figure is given. So in the second part here, this figure comes inside the circle. This figure comes inside the circle. Okay. And there is no rotation that has been done. Now a similar thing is not done in A because I have a cross. यहाँ पे क्रॉस था, फिगर में प्लस बना दिया, सो रोटेशन हो गया. फिगर बी ऑब्वियसली नॉट द आंसर. फिगर डी नॉट द आंसर. फिगर ई में ट्राइंगल इज ट्राइंगल शुड बी इनसाइड द रेक्टेंगल, और रेक्टेंगल को भी इसने रोटेट कर दिया, सो दैट इज व्हाई फिगर ई इज नॉट द आंसर. In figure C, in option C, I have a hexagon and up there is a plus sign. So now plus has gone inside the hexagon. Okay, plus has gone inside the hexagon. So this is matching with the logic that is used in the question figure. So the correct answer should be figure C. Figure C is option C, and most of you have given the correct answer. Nice. So that was question number 6. The correct answer is option C. Let's move on to the next question, question number 7. Select the option that is related to the third figure in the same way as second figure is related to the first figure. So establish a relationship between these two and apply the same relationship to find out what will replace this question mark. Titiksha, hello. I believe you have joined a little late, so no problem. Once the session is over, please have a look at the recording of whatever questions you have left behind. Any answer for this one? All right, perfect, perfect, good. Now this one is simple. The innermost thing is a plus sign. Okay, it has retained its position. So plus first figure में A में सबसे अंदर था, second figure में भी plus अंदर है. The only exchange has happened between the triangle and the circle, the outermost figure and the middle figure. So triangle has gone inside and circle has come outside. Okay, so the same thing will happen in the answer figure. So first of all, we'll have to retain this plus sign. The plus sign is retained in option B and option D. So I can eliminate option A and option C, because in option A and option C, plus has become cross. So A and C to eliminate kar denge. Now in question figure C, the outermost figure was a pentagon, and inside the pentagon I have a triangle. So triangle will come outside and pentagon will go inside. So outside figure should be a triangle and inside there should be a pentagon, which is happening in option B. Yes, option B is the correct answer. All right. So most of you have given option B as the correct answer. Not most of you, all of you have given this as the correct answer. Wonderful, lovely. Next question on visual reasoning. Not a difficult one. Select the correct mirror image of the given figure when the mirror is placed to the right side of the figure. So if I'll place the mirror here, mirror अगर मैं यहाँ पे place करूंगा, so which of these options will be the mirror image of the given figure in the question? Now this is very simple. Yes, all of you are giving the correct answer. Nice. So mirror image, first of all, triangle के अंदर तो at least ऐसे इस टाइप से चीज होनी चाहिए. So first option is incorrect. Triangle will come on this side, something like this. Okay, so this should be the leftmost portion of the figure. Now let's match it among the options. Option A is not satisfying, B is not satisfying, D is not satisfying. The only option that is satisfying is option C, and all of you have given a correct answer. Lovely, wonderful. Okay, all right, so that is the end of non-verbal reasoning. Now let's move on to the third thing for the day, that is puzzles. Now we are going to do very like two very good puzzles, two beautiful puzzles that I'm going to take. Now each of these puzzles will have two questions attached to it. Okay, so now all of us will have to be very careful. We have to focus while doing these questions. Okay, so very beautiful puzzles that I'm taking right now in front of you. So question number 9 and 10, these are the directions for these two questions. Read all these directions. Mickey, you can find the scheme of UGAT examination over the net. Right now, I'll not be discussing. This is not the right channel, right session to discuss. I am taking the questions of CUET and let's focus on this thing. Okay. I'm really sorry, Mickey. I'll not be able to discuss that right now. So question number 9 and 10, this is the common set of information that is given for these two questions. Read these directions and then I'll take you to the questions. So let me read out this information for all of you. So question says that read the information carefully and answer the questions that follows. Now there are three people, Eisenberg, Gabita and Sigi. So I'll call them A, G and S, are three prisoners convicted for crimes such as stealing money, murder and other crimes that they may or may not have committed. Okay, so these three people are the prisoners convicted for the crimes. The crimes are stealing money or murder or any other crime that they may or may not have committed. Okay, so they are convicted, but जरूरी नहीं है कि उन्होंने ये crime commit किया होगा. They are discussing the crimes that may or may not have committed. Okay, so A says I stole 1 million US dollars. G says I did not kill anyone. S says I did not commit any crime. G is lying. So A ने एक statement बोला है, B ने G ने एक statement बोला है and S ने दो statements बोले हैं. It is known that either A or G, so A or G में से one of them is telling the truth and the other one is lying. So इनमें से एक true बोल रहा है, एक false बोल रहा है. So one of them is saying the truth and the other one is lying among the first two persons A and G. For the third person, either the first statement is true and the second statement is lie, or vice versa. First statement is lie and second statement is true. All right, fine. So this is the complete information that is given, and the question that is asked on the basis of these directions is, what is the maximum number of prisoners who committed a crime? इनमें से मैक्सिमम कितने प्रिजनर्स हो सकते हैं जिन्होंने क्राइम कमिट किया है? 0, 1, 2, or 3. All right. So let's have a look at the directions once again, and let's try to decode whatever information is given to us. Now, this is the question basically based on truth tables, or you can say binary logic. So there are different names which are given to these type of questions. Okay. Now, they may or may not have committed the crimes, and they are discussing these